I'm asked a lot on the channel about how to stand in preparation to play the shot at snooker. Well, first of all, let me say that I thought I'd cover this in a fair amount of detail in my very first video, but I'm still asked a lot about it, so let's run through it again. First and foremost, I'd like to say, from my point of view, too much emphasis is placed on the stance. Let's be honest about it, it's the eyesight that put that cue on the line of the shot. It's not the stance. But that doesn't mean that the stance can be ignored. And indeed it can be helpful, both physically and mentally. So let's just have a look at it in greater detail. Here I put a cross of tape on the floor just to show you what I'm doing. What I'm going to do is put the cue on the line of the shot, right? So just to set that up, probably it's a good idea to put my right foot on the line of the shot. So there I can get down to play the shot from there. But having said that, right, I can still put this cue on the line of the shot if my right foot's out here. All I'm down here, I can still play snooker like that. And indeed, the American pool players, they're down there and they're playing the shot like this. All right, look at the stance. Now, snooker players tend to stand a lot squarer to the shot these days. Instead of the chest being in that position, they're more face on, giving a squarer point of the chest to face the shot and the cue. Right. So the right foot's going on the line of the shot. That's point one. Now what I need now is stability this way. So a good guide for that is to make sure that the left foot is slightly wider than hip width. So right foot's on the line of the shot, left foot slightly wider than hip width. That gives me stability. Now I need stability going forwards and backwards. Right, so to achieve that, it's a good idea to place the left foot in advance of the right. Now what I recommend, I'm using this tape on the floor here, and what I would recommend is that the left foot is in advance of the right, about half the length of your foot, or at the most, the full length of your foot. That will give you the stability going forwards. So here, I've got the right foot on line, the left foot is slightly wider than hip width and slightly in front. Now what I like to see is that a player gets the weight going very, very slightly forward. Don't like to see a player leaning backwards here, he's wanting to tilt backwards. Doesn't give him the stability that he needs. So here what's happening, slightly in front, yeah, the weight is going forward, onto the bridge and just a little. I don't want to create tension in any way. So they're just going forward and then from there I can play the shot. Tall players have a problem in many instances of keeping this cue parallel with the table. Because they're very tall, they're up here. This is exaggerating the point, I accept that. So they're up here with the cue. Now it's no good just taking the cue down to get it parallel. No good at all. You know, that will not give you the stability. What I want to see is a player take his body down. And because he's very tall, he might have a problem with that. So he's here. All I need to do is bend both legs. All right? Obviously it's easier to keep still if this leg is braced. But it's not essential. I can still stay still if both legs are bent. It's just easier with this braced. One of the players that I coach, young Kyron Wilson, quite a tall lad, and he bends both legs purely to get this cue down parallel with the table. Mark Joyce has experimented with it, another tall player. Mark King does it, and I'm sure you can think of other people that bend both legs. Another reason for bending both legs is as you get older, you might get a little bit stiffer. Too much football, creates a tight hamstring. And to keep that leg braced here, creates pain down the back of the knee. So it's a good idea just to take the tension away, just bending it slightly. As I said, it's easier to stay still if the right leg is braced, but it's not essential, right? If you need to bend the leg for comfort or because you're very tall, don't be too worried about it. Remember, it's the eyesight that puts that cue on the line, not your stance, okay? Now, just taking that a stage further, it's an advantage physically and mentally, as I've said, if you do the same thing. Remember, I've said in other videos, the game is all about repetition. So if you repeat the stance all the time, right foot on line, and I'm there, again, I come back, right foot on line, and I'm there, it becomes a habit. Repetition. If you know it works for you, then mentally it helps you to be mentally strong. So whilst I said the stance is too much importance placed upon it, I also mean very strongly that it cannot be ignored. It gives you the stability that way, and it also helps you mentally. Give it a lot of thought. Have a look at yourself on video. Is it right? Is it wrong? And then practice it. Practice it to the point where it's automatic. Good luck with that practice.